Oh, all right. Welcome to today's episode. I feel like this is a little different than it's not like a normal vlog. But basically what I wanted to do is, as I continue to get hyped up for Spectacle, I feel like I need to watch some tape and get into some self-criticism so that I can, start to get my gears turning about, what I'm going to do, some ideas about what I used to do, what I want to do at Spectacle, some new ideas for stuff I want to bring to the match. So I'm here with Derek Moss, the young Thrilla. And 2 years ago at Spectacle 6, you and I had a match to unify the regional championship and the heavyweight championship, which is now the regional heavyweight championship. They called it the most important match in PWA history, and it's definitely one of my favorite matches. I did a story. I did a vlog on it. Two-part. One of the first things I did is like the third thing I ever shot. So you can go back and check that out if you want to know like the full story. It's kind of a mess. The idea is better. I mean, it's fine. The idea is better than the execution, I think. But I was still new to everything.
I cannot tell you how many views I logged on that thing, because as soon as I saw it come up, I was like, all right, I gotta watch part 1. And then you waited a while to release part 2, and I was like, where's the rest of it? I'm watching this half, and I'm watching part 1 all the way. I'm like, oh, this is the whole thing. And then the part 2 came out, and I watched it on repeat.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty proud of it, despite what a mess it was. But I learned a lot from doing it too. But I didn't actually put the full match on there. Right. So today we're going to watch the full match, and Derek and I are going to kind of commentate over it, and you guys can see the match finally. Derek, any thoughts before we get started? Any thoughts? Any memories on the match?
There's a lot, because this coming to mind. People overuse the term biggest match in their career.
Yeah.
But up until that point, that was it. That was everybody by now. Everybody has heard. You trained me, so right. It's kind of that thing to you always want to prove you want that match, whatever you're doing, right. Wrestling or whatever, you always want that showdown between teacher and student to prove where you're at, how far you've come. And that once they handed us that, I was like, wow, that's more than I ever imagined.
It's good.
But when I won the regional championship, I thought that was wow, that's they're having a lot of faith in me. Somebody likes me back there. But when it comes to this, the path was obvious.
Right.
You can only go up from there. But being that that's 2 years ago, at that point I was still young, so you don't necessarily know how everything works yet. You're given this championship, you want to make it the best. Well, now they've given you a higher championship to go for. So you're like, oh, well, now I have to both defend my championship and, embark on a new, the heavyweight, you're the guy if you win this.
Yep.
You were the guy holding that belt.
Yeah, it's a big step.
Man, just, and the match, it just came together minus, a couple things that we catch up on that fans don't catch, but minus a couple minor things. I still put this as one of my top matches because
for sure,
how everything was, the emotion, and just
let's before you get too far, let's go ahead and start.
Oh, absolutely.
And we can talk about the emotion. They can see for themselves.
Absolutely.
All right, let's. Your belt was so much nicer than mine. I think that was the main reason I wanted to.
You look at how gold it is right now, and compare it to what it looks like now, and it's a completely different belt. I always joke with Casey all the time. I'm like, the belt, it looks silver now because it's how it's
it's just worn and
3 years old. So
you think a belt would stand up a little better,
right? had it not been, thrown around and smacked off poles and just,
It's taken a lot of abuse.
because as champion, you get the luxury of facing different challengers all the time. And different challengers, they see a belt, and since they can't win it, they can just destroy it on the way. So.
Yep. And everybody wants to grab it and hold it up. And
I haven't had any fans drop it yet, which is good.
That's
I think that would be my line. The whole thing, if I have somebody grab it and just be like, I'll be like, I wouldn't even know. That would be one of those things I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hit a fan, but that would be my one time where I'd be like, really?
Thanks, jerk.
Yeah.
Here we go, getting some good chain wrestling in. I go back and forth on chain wrestling because it's one of the first things you learn as a wrestler, and it's just so tough to learn how to use it. Like you learn to do all the holds right away, but and then it's how you kind of get introduced to working your matches. Right. Because the very first drills you start to run are a little more like that. Here, go do 2 minutes of chain wrestling or whatever.
Right.
But to actually put it in a match, a lot of guys just use it. A lot of guys just use it as just like the slow part of the match, and it's like that's not what it's supposed to be. Like I really feel like we did a good job working it in and building up in this match. You can really see it. You can really see it transition, and the match builds on itself. It's not just like, well, here's the chain wrestling and here's the rope running, and then okay, now you know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
Well, there's that fine line between too much and not enough.
Right.
If you use it not enough, which it's hard. It's hard to put chain wrestling into a match because as preconceived, you don't want it to seem like, hey, give me your arm, let's dance.
Yeah.
Or hey, let me take your head over here.
Yep.
So you want to kind of use it as kind of a transition between, hey, I'm going to grab your head and then, I'm going to hit you when you come off the ropes.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You don't want it to seem like you're just, cooperating.
Right. Yeah.
And too much. Oh my God. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a match where people they're like, oh, I got to put on this chain clinic for 15 minutes and then we'll get into the heat. But by then the crowd's, they don't care because you haven't given them a reason to get excited.
Yep. Well, a lot of wrestlers too don't learn well, they think that like a good chain spot means 100 different moves and 100 different reversals, and so they just run through a bunch of reversals into different moves, and they don't make any of the moves mean anything. I mean, you can see us, not to toot our own horn, but I'm making you fight for every move here. Every time I get you locked in something, you got to fight your way out of it.
Right. And it gives that time for the crowd to actually sink in and say, oh, he grabbed him in a headlock.
Yep.
Oh, he took him over. Oh, well,
right.
How's he going to get out of this? And then once you do get out of it, then he took his arm now. Now what's going to happen?
Right. And they can see each move and watch it happen, and then they get to come with you on the journey as you're fighting out. They watch you. They want you to escape. So when you do it, it matters.
And that's what guys get so mad because they try to do that in the beginning of the match.
Yep.
And then you'll get a heel who likes that slow-paced style, who put him in a rest hold.
Yep.
And the face will get pissed off that he can't get the crowd into it.
Yep.
To as we do, try to get the crowd
right.
in for the comeback.
Stomping your foot.
People aren't going to care if they can't see what you're doing and get invested in this part. If we would have started quick and high-paced like that in that chain, no one would have cared towards the end.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's all about the build and patience. Patience is something a lot of wrestlers don't have. Mm-hmm. Now, in saying that, I do also have to acknowledge that we were in the sweet spot here.
Right.
We were late in the card. We had the match that both titles were in the match, so people were expecting a long. They were expecting a long match. So and like that psychology with a fan plays in a lot. I think a lot more than some people realize. Because if they're expecting a long match, they'll be in for a long match. If you're just in the middle of the card...
Did not know I was bumping at that point until I got halfway through the bump, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Well, luckily I'm a freight train. Oh, here's my fall.
Yeah, see, I'm holding... I grab on...
Yeah, you tried to keep me.
And then onto my head.
Yep. That ring was so slick, man. I don't know what it was, if there was dudes sweating in it or what, man. But that ring, you saw me lose footing in the sequence we did before that.
Right.
I lost my footing.
Yeah, out of your bump on the bumping field.
Yep.
But and also to add to your point, we were the last wrestling match on the card. There was, there was a TLC match afterwards. That's mayhem.
Right.
That's chaotic. That's car crash.
Yeah.
We were the last wrestling match on the card, so everybody knew going in, hey, not only is this a huge match, this is the last time we're going to see wrestling on
Right. Yep.
So, we're going to see people beat each other to death in the TLC match. They're not going to. We weren't going to go out there and grab a chair from underneath the ring and start going to town.
And when your card is put together properly, when you have a good card like that, the crowd it really does help the crowd. If you have a match that you're fist fight, and a match that you're big guys, and a match that you're like consummate wrestling match, and the match that is then your TLC that's all the craziness, it helps to build the fans and educate the fans onto what to be in for each match.
Right.
So I think we had this was a great show. We had everything kind of put together that way, and like you were saying, the crowd was just with us. They knew, like, okay, these guys are going to come out, they're going to wrestle, and we're going to be down for that.
Well, and it also gives that crowd that different blend of not seeing too many crowds complain. We see the same thing every match.
Right.
You've heard it. You've been to indie shows, and even even bigger shows. It's subject to a booker puts in a bad scenario. Well, then you got two wrestlers. Like say we were, if we were in a cramped place, they may not even care about this match.
Right.
But we were put in that right spot.
Or if every other match had been a consummate wrestling match.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times too, what wrestlers don't understand, when a fan or somebody is talking about, well, I've seen this, we've seen the same thing in every match, that doesn't necessarily mean the moves. I think a lot of wrestlers focus too much on the moves, but the style of your match is important too.
Right.
So if there's a high-flying match, if you have a whole card of high-flying matches, all those matches look the same, even though you've got different characters, different wrestlers, and a lot of times I don't think guys think about that.
No. And a lot of that runs together. You want somebody to come from this show and go to the next show and say, "Hey, did you see what did you see what they did?"
Yep.
And if you got a card that's all the high flyer matches, they're going to say, well, which one were they?
Right.
Because they all pretty well look the same.
Yeah.
And you as a wrestler, you never want to get labeled as that of we forgot about you because you were the exact same.
Right.
You were just wearing different clothes.
Yep.
That was the only reason we could tell you apart.
Only reason. Yeah.
But this spectacle right here, this the placement, it added to.
Yeah. This is.
I remember before I hit the curtain, I was nervous when I walked through, but that's just because both, and you could tell both. We both love what we do.
Yep.
So as soon as we go to hit that curtain, we're leaving the world behind. This is our world.
Right.
This is our story to tell in this match.
This is it. And we were both there. I think we both had an understanding. You trusted me. I'm not one who talks a lot before the matches, but you trusted me out there, and we're right there at every step. That's the important thing. I like to work on the fly a lot. I would much rather put together a finish and then just go out there and feel everything else.
Right.
But you got to have somebody else who can do that.
I
can only
biggest
carry
thing
you so much.
Right. your greatest asset is the fact that you work pretty well. You've worked in your 18 years. You've worked everybody.
Yeah.
So you've worked a whole bunch of different styles, and you can cater to that. So you can work a match where everybody puts everything together, but you can also work a match like this where we just go out there and we feel what the crowd wants.
Yep.
And that's hard to get as guys because they either get in one of those two mindsets.
Yep.
And there's really no gray area. You found the gray area, but
Well, there's a lot of there are plenty of guys who can, but not a lot of guys who do. I have always prided myself on being very varied. Being able to, not just being able to work on the fly, but being able to work you know, if there's a high flyer, if there's a brawler, if there's a technical wrestler, short match, long match, main event, you know, mid card. I feel like I've always known my place,
Right.
and I can fill that place exactly where it needs to be.
I just like to have I've worked so many guys that they forget everything when they go out there, they freeze up.
Yep.
I would at least like to have, I'm a fan when everything goes right. If you put all the spots together, the
Yep.
match can be the match that you want. And I'm a
Right.
spot guy, I'll admit it.
Yep.
But I remember everything as soon as we leave the curtain.
Right.
So that's the difference is that, most guys, they put all these spots together and they expect you to say, hey, you're the heel, you carry the match.
Yeah.
You remember all my spots.
Yep.
When I'm face or heel, I remember all those. So if we get lost and the guy's like, oh, I don't know where we're going, I know exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
But I at least like to have a mindset of how you want the match prepared. That's how I know, even when we're putting it together on the fly, I can kind of cater to your style and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't want to throw a whole bunch at you. Maybe I'll hit something big and meaningful
Yep.
in that part of the match.
Yep. We're working up here. Clean break. Clean break. Nope.
Get jacked right in the face. Here's back to a slippery moment here. Ugh. And Luke got up.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, it was beautiful. That's one of those things like you remember struggling through and it felt like it took forever for you there, but it looks fine and
Right.
none of the fans, have anything, and now we're into the crippler crossface. I liked this. We were kind of talking over it, but you went. I've been hammering you and pounding on you and everything, and then we get to this, and you flipped around. Got a couple of moves off on my arm, and now you've got this, or on my, on my arm and shoulder, and now you've got this locked in on my shoulder. And I think people really, you can hear the fans
Right.
chanting for me to tap. I think they really thought that, because we had set this move up with you suddenly targeting my shoulder,
Right. That I finally found a weak point. 'Cause
Right.
At this point in the match, this is the first, besides the elbow drop way earlier, but this is the first part of the match that, people actually can say, oh, well, he might have got it now.
yeah,
He might just work the rest of this, and then you just go straight
Power.
back into it.
Well, I really wanted to build this match. Like, I really wanted this match to build. I didn't want the usual structure to a match, and I didn't want the kind of back and forth that's real popular right now. I really wanted this to be. I felt like kind of the whole story was, you were the young up and comer, and I was the mountain, and so you had to climb that mountain, and all the way, all the way to the top, it was a struggle. So that was really how I envisioned this match, and I think we did a great job in pulling that off.
Oh, it's go back to the difference in styles. I was working guys where it was all, you get all those guys down in the contenders for the regional championship at the time, and it was all, hey, I'm going to throw everything at you because they want your title.
Right.
With you being that guy, you've been that guy for so long that, you set the standard being champion as to, hey, this is how I'm going to wrestle matches.
Yep.
You're either going to conform to my style and lose, or you're going to not conform and you're still going to lose. So that was the point, and even through the whole build-up of this, from the rivalry from start to finish, was that you were not going to get off your style.
Yeah.
I was determined to try to change your style, but, even to this point, I still haven't gotten that point
Yep.
to where I'm taking back over yet. And, you're still proving your dominance to say, hey, you can climb all you want, I'm going to keep knocking you down every time you get up here.
This is a great spot. I love the visual of this spot. That's another thing I think gets overlooked sometimes. Guys think about the moves, they think about where they want to be at in the ring, but they don't think about how it's going to look.
Right.
And man, we had some great angles and just the way it was kind of set up there. I love the visual of that.
Right. Because guys, there comes a certain point when you when you believe in what you're doing, that you can take a step out of your body and sit in the front row of the crowd and watch. And most of those guys don't have the patience to do that. They just say, "Oh well, I saw this on TV, 2 months ago. Hey, let me do this cool spot." And it's everybody thinks it's big and elaborate, but
I think it's nerves too.
Oh,
a lot.
absolutely.
Guys that aren't comfortable in there, guys that are too busy thinking about the next spot and worried about where they're at and am I doing the right thing and did we land right and is he okay? They just get too in their own head to step out and really be in the moment of the match. Duck. Boom. Ooh, gosh.
Yep, there we go. That's what I alluded to in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
It's alright.
The spot.
And then this weird, awkward reversal thing that I do.
Boom. That's alright. By the time we get there, nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
That's all that matters. And a match doesn't have to look pretty. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about a lot. Like, if you watch a UFC fight, it's not pretty. So I don't think everything that happens. Oh, that was pretty though. Look at that. Have you ever seen a big man so nimble?
This ain't gonna end well.
Buckle. Blue Thunder.
Going for the ride.
I love that move. I threw that move for a long time when I was younger. When I first started out, I did that move a lot. I stole it from Val Venus. And I just thought it was like a cool move. I didn't know. I just liked the look of the move. And I kind of got away from doing it for a long time. And when Sami Zayn came back, he would get such height and such a spin on guys. I was like, that looks super cool. And that was how I came up with, because I was like, I'd like to add more spin. Like that spin is so cool. How can I make him make spins? Because I'm not just going to pick him up and spin around in the middle of the ring. But what if what if I'm taking him from the buckle to the middle of the ring? And now I think it looks great. Oh, that got me. That got me, and that got me for real. I had a footprint on my lip after that. Now you're starting to reach the top of that mountain. I just love, man.
Right back down. And this is the part right here when we're building towards the end. So many guys you can go right into it, and the crowd leaves home happy the same way.
Yes.
But it's when they can get enthralled in it and be like, all right, I'm invested. You got me. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
You get them up high, and it's the roller coaster effect. You get them up real. You start going up, straight back down. Start going up, straight back down. And you finally get that big build, and then you go over the top, and then it's the real big.
Yeah. And now here we go. Start going up, straight back down.
Oh.
That was ugly. Landed that. I love, the superplex is like my big match move. Like I would, like anytime you see me, like if you see me throw a superplex, you know that I think that match is important.
Right.
I always land it so bad, man. I always land too high. I don't know what it is. I mean, in the moment, I'm just like, boom, and the adrenaline's going, and I'm like, yes, here we are. But every time I watch it back, I'm like, man, I just do not come off that top rope right. I land a little awkward every time.
And at this point, I got about 4.5 million things going through my head right now. Mainly because, I'm going to get planted onto my face here is what I'm thinking. Well, now he's hit me with the superplex. I know what's coming next. I've seen this narrative.
Yeah. Well, this is back to what we're talking about. This is patience,
Right.
and letting the crowd soak it in and soaking in the crowd. A lot of guys don't do this. They feel like, we got to rush, we got to hurry, and they never take a second to live in that moment. Oof. Oh, that was beautiful. Oof.
I'm glad I didn't kick you because I thought about it real long and hard, and I was like, I already kicked him twice in the face. I don't know why kicking him in the stomach's going to do anything.
Yeah. No, just grab me. That's it. The 3 count.
Undisputed champion, Derek Moss.
All right, so I gotta say, like that match was absolutely one of my favorite matches, and one of the only times, I had a vision for the match, and I feel like it absolutely 100% lived up to that vision. Like every the flow, the moves, like it wasn't a flawless match. We had our mistakes because every match has mistakes. But overall, it was exactly what I envisioned, exactly what I wanted.
Right. That was probably one of the only matches that I've had probably ever that I've came in with no no expectations, no idea of what was going to happen, because we hadn't talked about it up until then.
Right.
So like we knew what was eventually going to happen.
Yeah, we had an idea.
We had no, we had no structure put together yet.
Right.
So I came in with that with no,
Yeah.
with a clear head. I didn't have anything that was extra going on. It was just, hey, here's this match. Here's what you're going to do. You guys go out there and we're just going to do it.
And that's what we did.
Oh, that's still one of my favorite matches.
Absolutely.
Just because of, and I don't usually work that style.
Yeah.
So that was the difference in what I've done from then even till now. I haven't worked a match like that since.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, well, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you liked this. If you want to see more, I'll do more. If you didn't like it, I will probably still do more because I really enjoyed it. But I'll make sure that I link. We talked about the episodes that I did that cover the
full
storyline. So I'll make sure those are linked either in the description or at the end of the video. So you can check those out if you like this. That's going to be all for today. Derek, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, don't forget, make a mess, but keep your room clean, and always, always tell the truth.